Live from Georgia, welcome race fans, one and all, back to Green Flag TV, where this afternoon we are set to see who will be racing their way into the Final Four and who will be going home. Welcome to the High Tide Racing Guardian Premier Series and to Green Flag TV. My name is Lorenzo. Joined alongside me tonight is once again Austin Edstrom, bringing you all of racing action here on Monday night. Austin, this race here tonight expected to be a wild one. This race has been a bit of a long time coming here, right? The second trip to Atlanta this season. The last one here did not go all that well, and we're hoping that this race can be a bit of a less wreck fest and more of a thrilling fight to the finish, especially with the point standings being as tight as they are for that cut line.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, but hey, this is a little bit different than the last Atlanta race that we've been to. Here, obviously, at the old Atlanta, going to be old, worn-out surface the entire night. These guys are going to have to be, fighting the tire just as much as they're fighting the cars around them on the racetrack for the point for their points positions, or at least the positions at the end of the race that'll pay their points. As we're looking at the top 8 in the championship standings, Hop, Lacey probably locked into the next round. It's that third and fourth spot that you really got to pay attention to. Can Ping and Walker hang on from guys like Jeremiah Hobbs, Michael Thorpe Jr., and Connor Gibson?
Now, the critical thing tonight, right, Jaden Hopp is actually not here this afternoon, so there is a chance that he gets eliminated tonight. Now, we'll see if that will come to fruition here this afternoon, because Jaden Hopp not present at the Speedway. Also not present is Christopher Bassinger. So one driver, the driver, the number 15, is going to be down, and he is going to be out. He will not get the chance to fight for his first championship for the multi-time winner here this afternoon. Right now, though, Ping and Walker tied for the bump spot, and then Hobbs and Thorpe tied for the final spot, for the first spot out, just 6 points behind. So third through sixth, separated by 6 points. And remember, Dustin Ping, Michael Thorpe Jr., 2 drivers that are former Final Four contenders here this afternoon, right? Dustin Ping, a Season 2 champion. Benjamin Lacey, a Season 1 champion. Wyatt Walker trying to get into the Final Four for the first time of his career. Same story for Jeremiah Hobbs and for Connor Gibson. There's a lot on the line for everyone in this field. For some, trying to go for new heights, and others trying to defend old flames.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, whether, like you said, whether you're trying to work your way into the top 4 or trying to hang on to the top 4, everybody's going to be fighting the same thing here tonight, right? These cars are probably going to be very, very tight. The ARCA cars on these mile and a halves tend to be pretty tight. Most of them, you see the super speedway racing for a lot of time. Here at Atlanta, you might see that for 5 laps or so, but I really think tire saving is going to come into heavy play here. We're going to see good field spread for the ARCA car at a mile and a half, and it's going to be, I think, one of the best mile and a half races of the season that we've seen.
The track is blistering hot out there, 121 degrees Fahrenheit down to the racing surface. One of the hottest track times we've gotten all season long. 9 miles an hour of wind blowing off towards the west as well with very low humidity. So the track is going to be a bit starved for grip, and these are conditions that we saw similar to the first time we were racing here at Atlanta, right? In that race, it was a little bit of a mess, I'm not going to lie, right? I mean, that race, I think a lot of drivers remember it for all the wrong reasons. It was not a race that a lot of drivers were keen on remembering on the season. As that race, they walked away with 11 cautions, totaling 33 of the 137 laps being run under the yellow flag. They're hoping for more this afternoon, admittedly with a much smaller grid this time around. But I mean, hey, that 121 track temp, that is still a beast of a temp to overcome.
Especially at this racetrack, like I said, with the tire wear, it's already bad at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the old Atlanta Motor Speedway. You get, you put the track temperature all the way up to, 120, 125 degrees, and all of a sudden, those tires are burning twice as fast as what they would have been beforehand. So I'm telling you, this is going to be a big tire conservation race. How long can you hang on to that right front? How long can you hang on to that right rear? To be able to get as many laps out of these tires as possible every single run. That is the trick to get yourself up towards the front here late.
Several drivers are already standing by and awaiting the runs to make their way out onto the racetrack. There is Dustin Ping, the Season 2 champion here this afternoon. He is going to be trying to go for more here this afternoon. Of course, you also have Season 1 champion Benjamin Lacey in attendance here this afternoon as well, this field is going to be in it to win it here this afternoon. And Austin, we are just moments away from getting down to the starting grid this afternoon. But you come into a Final Four race like this, it is a test like no other, because for a lot of drivers, this is going to be the moment that defines their season, right? This will determine if they even had a shot to win the race. And if a driver is unable to fight the Final Four, they're going to be looking at this race wondering, what could have I done differently?
Yeah, I mean, this is the most important race of the season as of this point, and that's not understating it whatsoever, right? The race leading into the championship round, the fight right around the bubble, unbelievably tight between 3rd place to 7th place, and then, like you said, the points leader isn't even here tonight, so he very well could miss the Final Four as well. I mean, there's just so many storylines that we're going to be able to keep track of throughout the entire evening here tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's just going to be nothing short of fascinating.
Well, this season, it's been a wild one so far. One of the wildest seasons in recent memory, of course. The High Tide Racing League already getting set to plan their way into season number 5. And with several drivers on the market here to see who's going to be in and who's going to be out, I think it's about high time that we take a rundown of what your official starting grid is going to look like here for racing action here this afternoon from yet another run for the High Tide Racing League Guardian Premier Series. Starting on pole position, it's Benjamin Lacey with a 30.335. He starts alongside Ryan Philbrick in the 06. Lacey, the champion in season 1. This is one of the best positions he has ever been in since then to try and go for another title. He is looking to become High Tide Racing League's first repeat champion in just 1 week's time. Nicholas Corcel in the Gresco number 40 starts down in 3rd. He starts alongside Michael Thorpe Jr. Thorpe, a driver that has been a champion in waiting for over 2 different seasons now. He unfortunately was not able to race his way into the Final Four in season number 2. In season 3, he had a good shot, but unfortunately, health problems and technical problems kept sidelining him all throughout the rounds of 12 and a round of 8. This is one of his best opportunities, but he is on the outside looking in. He needs more this afternoon. Road number 3 on the grid, it's Ty Marasco. He starts alongside Dalton Kilroe. The defending season 3 champion of Dalton Kilroe will have to watch the rest of this championship play out from the sidelines here this afternoon. Row 4, it's going to be season 2 champ Dustin Payne trying to become the first repeat winner, and Wyatt Walker for G&W Racing. He is seeking his first champion and also trying to get his first bid in to the Final Four of his High Tide Racing League career. Top 10 then closed out by GFR Racing's Kevin Foster alongside David Lakey, the U.S. Army Chevrolet.
Up in here outside of the top 10, back to row number 6, Ethan Sikorsky in the number 94 for Unhinged Racing on the inside. Connor Gibson starting on the outside there for BC Sim Sport, trying to get into the Final Four for the first time here tonight. Going back to row number 7, Paul Sathmary in the number 24, Jonathan Canfield in the number 16 on his outside for Golden Guardian Autosport. Back to row number 8, 15th place, Matt Crockett for Unhinged Racing. On his outside, Eddie Haggy for 5 Points Motorsports in the number 97. Back one more row to row number 9. Tanner Marr starting on the inside in the number 44. And look at this, it's a row full of 4s. Scott Shire on the outside in the number 4. Then back to row number 10, rounding out the top 20. Michael Ramos in the number 27. Going to be starting on the inside. Sean Williams for Old School Racers in the number 89, starting on his outside.
21st place, it's going to be Carter Phillips, the 5 Points Motorsports driver, starting down in 30th place. He runs alongside the Canadian of Larry Bell. On row number 12, it's John Osborne for 785 Racing. He runs alongside Kyle Wellman. Row number 13, you're going to have the likes of Jeremiah Hobbs set to start alongside. Well, not sure who is set to start alongside him. Evidently, it was a driver that is right now not in the session. Behind him is Michael Ashbourne, Adrian Loya, and then back of the grid, Mike Massagill will close out the 29-car field this afternoon. I have a feeling that Massagill was the car that you were supposed to start alongside on. Kevin Foster sent to the tail end early on with a penalty from the last couple weeks, and now we are set to go racing once again this afternoon.
I accidentally registered for the session instead of watching it, so I actually think that might have been
that's your fault.
that was down there. Yeah, I'm starting 25th here tonight with my invisible car. You won't be able to see
it. Not anymore, you're not.
Don't worry, we're going to pretend like it's there.
Well, the field getting set to go racing here this afternoon on what should be a fun one here this afternoon. Normally I ask if you got anybody that you ain't got favored to win, but instead I'm going to change it up. Do you have any final favorites at the Final Four here this afternoon?
Outside of the top 4, I don't know. It's just so tough to call. I'm trying so hard to think my way through it.
Right.
But with Hop not being here and the cut line being so close from 3rd on 7th, there's just too many variables. There's no telling who's going to make this thing. I mean, Hop, your points leader, could get knocked out of this thing from not showing up tonight. So there's a lot of laps to get this thing figured out. I can't wait to get him on the way.
Race cars into pit row. We're happy you joined us for more racing action here on this fantastic Monday night. Time to get the party started. It's go, go,
side by side, 2 by 2, all throughout the field as the field funnels down into turn 1. Already going to be 3 wide. Through turns 1 and 2 is your outside pole sitter. A little bit too high through the corner. They're still going to be 3 wide coming out of turn 2 for that second place position. Michael Thorpe Jr. stuck in the middle. Benjamin Lacey's liking this though, up in the race lead. He's clear to the lead in that clean air, still 3 wide per second behind.
Coming off at turn numbers 3 and 4. Benjamin Lacey leads lap number 1 to green here this afternoon. Michael Thorpe Jr. pulling clear up from the high side. Nicholas Coruscant down in third, while Kevin Foster will be coming to pit row, this time by to serve that black flag from last week. Just behind these drivers, you got Dustin Ping trying to claw his way through the field, but right now they're still packed in nose to Sterling like it's Auto Club coming down the back straight with a turn number 3.
All funneling down into turn 3 for the second time here tonight. Michael Thorpe Jr., he was stuck in that middle lane in that 3 wide situation. He was able to clear for second and then get down to the inside of Benjamin Lacey, take this race lead away. But Lacey on that outside groove of the racetrack, keeping that right rear of the number 34 at bay, at least staying to the outside of the number 34 down here, at least keeping it side by side. But through 1 and 2, that bottom line, pushing forward ever so slightly. Thorpe Jr. is gonna clear off the corner, but he's gonna leave that outside line for Benjamin Lacey, and that's gonna open up the inside to Nicholas Coruscant. 3 wide for the lead, down into 3.
3 wide for the top spot, coming around to turn numbers 3 and 4. Nicholas Coruscant trying to clear up from the bottom side, not able to get the job done. Thorpe still got the run, but Coruscant will lead the lap to green up on the outside line. Connor Gibson now going to take away the fastest lap of the race, all the way back for the 7th place on the racetrack, while Coruscant and Thorpe still double final for the lead down the back. Yeah, this racing up at the front of the field has not calmed down whatsoever. Are these guys burning their tires a little bit too much, racing so hard up here at the front of the pack? Like you said, over 120-degree track temp at the old Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's going to burn the tires off really quick, but these guys up at the front, they don't really seem to care. Coruscant, Thorpe Jr. still side by side for the lead coming across the stripe. Double file and no signs of slowing up. You're right on board with Benjamin Lacey as he's got a good angle on this fight. Thorpe up on the top. Coruscant slipping up from that apron down to the inside. That gives Thorpe the run he needs up on the top shelf, but Lacey's got company. He's got Ryan Philbrick driving around the outside of him, trying to go for third. Lacey's seeking to defend, but up around the top, it's Philbrick in the GoPro 06, trying to get up onto a podium. Philbrick still on that outside of Benjamin Lacey, and this entire pack is about to come up to the lap car, I believe, of Kevin Foster, who will be lapped after he had to have that drive-through penalty from the black flag at the beginning of this race. At the front of the field, though, they haven't quite caught Foster. But the number 40, Nicholas Coruscant, he's got himself up to the race lead. He's caught and passed Michael Thorpe Jr. How about that number 40? I said before the playoffs he was Mr. Consistent, but here coming into Atlanta, even though he's not in the playoffs anymore, that consistency has turned to speed. Down to the bottom side, Benjamin Lacey trying to get around Sikorsky nearly gets into the fence. Top 2 starting to break away pretty convincingly up here. Well, as I say that, Thorpe going to look to the inside, and he wants to retake that race lead right back here this afternoon. That's going to lay once again Connor Gibson and Ryan Philbrick try to close ranks from behind. Elsewhere, there's a lot of side-by-side battling in the field all throughout the mid-pack. Right now, you got first all the way back to 16, separated by just 2 seconds. I didn't think that we would be quite as packed up as the other mile and a half, so we're not. There's a little bit more spread here in the early going, but it's not as much as I would have expected as well. The draft of this car has really kept these guys close down these straightaways. Seth Mary sideways, wrecking off at turn number 2. He's caught Ty Marasco. Marasco back up the racetrack. It looks like everybody's going to be able to avoid him. Long line of cars coming through here. Looks like nobody else did contact, but there's Seth Mary got loose in front of Marasco, and Marasco could not get checked up in time as Seth Mary was spinning across his nose. Unfortunate way to kick off racing action here this afternoon, and this one is going to start as a result, like you say, of Paul Satmary getting a little bit loose up on the top side of the racetrack in the Lufthansa number 24. And you can see right there, the back end just swings around on him. And Marasco, nowhere to go, runs into the left quarter panel. He gets spun around, and Michael Ashmore, I think, just gave Marasco a bit of a helping hand. And Satmary is going to get pretty heavily into that inside wall. Yeah, it's going to be some decent damage for Seth Mary to fix here. Really sucks this early in the race. Unfortunate there for Tom Marasco. You know, obviously he's just right at the bottom of the racetrack, and you know the 24 came from the top to the bottom. Obviously no intent from Seth Mary to come down there just super loose. That's actually a little bit heavier front end damage than I expected to see on the driver, the number 1 here. That nose has been in pretty good from that contact.
ultimately fixable. He might need one more caution after this one to get that nose completely fixed back to how it was beforehand. But look at this, everybody. It looks like coming down. I'm surprised to see this many people coming down to take tires only 8 laps in, if they are taking tires.
It might not be for tires. Yeah, exactly. It could be for fuel here as well. Several drivers are staying out, which does lead to this being a bit of a fuel gamble here. Gibson, Sikorsky, Ping, Lakey, Crockett, Ramos, Walker. The 7 drivers that are going to stay out on the racetrack. Everybody else is in. And so far, I'm seeing only fuel only throughout everybody here in the pack. Only driver we've seen taking 4 tires is actually Eddie Hankey down to the number 97. But given that we're only 10 laps in, I'm willing to bet that's an error. Same story for Dalton Kilroy.
Either an error or they accidentally took 4 tires. Maybe not. Maybe didn't uncheck them.
Or well, that's what an error is. But also,
I thought you meant software error, like it was showing the wrong amount of tires.
Or they could also be getting damage fixed as well, like Ty Marasco.
I wouldn't expect Kilroy to have any damage. I didn't see any contact from the 41 at any point. He's sitting on pit road for a long time, so I'm not too sure about Dalton Kilroy.
Well, the IRC pace car set to pull down into pit road this time by. Going to get a look at the live championship results here entering this one, and already you can see not good news for Jaden Hopp. Right now, 2 points outside. Now, here's the kicker. With Hopp not here, this is actually recoverable for him still. What he needs Gibson to not win this race. If Gibson doesn't win this race, Hopp might still be able to just barely slip in there by the skin of his teeth. But right now, 25 points out. That's the best he can possibly hope for. And with Gibson leading the way, he needs something to change up there.
Okay, but the problem is, even if Gibson gives up positions, Michael Thorpe Jr. is minus 25, and he's running 7th place. Most of the time I see Michael Thorpe Jr. in a lot of these races, if he keeps his nose clean, he's finishing in the top 5. So the way I'm reading that, if Thorpe Jr. finishes in the top 5, he probably jumps into the top 4. You see right there, he actually picked up a position under caution just from pushing the nose of his car ahead, and all of a sudden he's ahead of Jaden Hopp. So I think Hopp's in a lot of trouble here, whether it's Gibson or Thorpe. You only need one of them to beat you.
Well, critically, though, again, Gibson needs the points. If Gibson does not make up enough points to get around Jaden Hopp, then it goes the other way around. And in fact, look at right there. Now Michael Thorpe Jr. is on the outside looking at just how they're lined up double file here. There's a lot that can change in a very, very short span of time at this racetrack. Don't count Hopp or Thorpe out yet. It's a long way to go still this afternoon. Green flag is back in the air. A big wobble on Dustin Ping and Edith Sikorsky as both drivers spun the tires off the hitch. And we're green into turn 1.
Top 3 single file and out already. Gibson, Sikorsky, Leakey. Those guys not deciding to come down pit road. Didn't take tires, but neither did most of the field behind them. Everybody just coming down for fuel. Those top 3 or 4, though, stayed out on the racetrack. They got old tires and less gas than the rest of the field. Can they hang on to them? Did they push those tires too hard in that first stint, or can they use this clean air to hang on?
Kyle Gibson leading the first lap back to green. Of course, remember, all of the drivers that did in pit, they are still on the same tires. Everybody else that came down, they're just lacking on the fuel. So don't expect to see a major difference in outright pace, at least not yet. That might come a little bit further down the line. Mostly single file, though, throughout much of the front runners.
Yeah, I think we're really just seeing people figuring out, hey, you gotta save tire a little bit, right? Especially these guys that just came down, put in gas. They're gonna make this, or at least they're gonna try to make this tire run even longer, right? They got 9, 10 more laps of gas than the guys that stayed out. So that's 10 more laps of gas you gotta put on your tires if this thing runs green all the way out. And normally in the high tide racing league, you gotta save a set, or your fringe having to save a set to be able to win the race. So I'm not too surprised to see the strategy, but that just means we're going to see more single file to an extent in certain areas. Right now, though, 2 guys battling for the 4th place spot in the playoffs. Wyatt Walker and Michael Thorpe Jr. side by side just outside of the top 5. Both these guys fighting for the 7th place position when every point matters so much. And here comes Benjamin Lacey right behind him. He was one of the leaders right before the pit stop. He's closing in on this battle for the 7th place position.
Sikorsky trying to go for the lead around the outside, and that could really lead to a shakeup here in the overall championship stand as we once again put reference to them. All of a sudden, Connor Gibson, if he loses that lead, now he's within 5 points of Jaden Hop, and all of a sudden now he's within 4. Hop is now 1 point closer to being able to get a run going for himself here. We've had problems on the racetrack looking like Paul Satmar, Andrew Loya, Michael Ashmore have all gone around as we got multiple cars now off the racetrack.
Must have been way far off the back of the pack here. Satmar getting involved yet again here in the first 20 laps. Have not been good to the driver number 24, but it has been good to Ethan Sikorsky, Connor Gibson up at the front of the field, side by side, coming out of turn 4. Both these guys fighting for the race lead as Ping is trying to make a move a little bit further back. Looking to the inside of it looks like Wyatt Walker, but Wyatt Walker had just recently passed Dustin Ping, so it looks like Thorpe Jr. trying to get around the outside of Ping now as Walker and Thorpe Jr. both pushing through this field. Wyatt Walker now inside the top 10, fight for 4th.
As David Lincoln makes the look, let's real quick take a look back on what happened here to Paul Satmary, Adrian Loya, and Michael Ashmore. This is coming off of turn number 3 and 4. Satmary again going to get loose, overcracks, this time into the wall hard, and he's going to collect a bunch of them, and a hard hit all around. 3-car pile up on the back straightaway. I'm shocked that that wasn't a caution. That definitely fit the criteria for it.
Holy cow, that 98 he got jumped off the ground and was just about riding his door down the back straightaway. Watch the 98 here. Oh my goodness, did you see that car jump whenever he hit the back end of Adrian Loya?
This is going to be on board with Michael Ashmore here. Holy cow, that is a ride for Ashmore down the back straightaway. And again, now I'm even more shocked that that wasn't a caution.
Yeah, it's not very often that you see a car catch flight and a yellow flag doesn't come out, but sometimes it happens on iRacing. You know, that was at the back of the pack. No more cars coming from behind to make the caution lot throw the yellow. So we end up staying under green. Hate that for the 98 though, because that was massive contact that he really couldn't do too much about, right? There's kind of a blind spot whenever you got one car in front of you. The blind spot being the fact that you can't see the car in front of them, and unfortunately he just never saw Satmary get loose. And then the checkup in front of him just unfortunately caught him up into it. But hey, how about Benjamin Lacey here? Still right in that 8th place spot after the pit stop. He's been just kind of riding here in 8th place for the last 5 or so laps. I really think, we've talked about it multiple times this year. Benjamin Lacey is the tire whisperer. He is so good on the long run compared to a lot of his competitors. So I really feel like a track like the old Atlanta Motor Speedway is going to play into the hands of Benjamin Lacey if we get those long runs. If we can have a long 35 or even a one-stop, a green flag stop in that last stint, maybe it's a 70-lap run, I think Benjamin Lacey would be the man to beat at that point.
Connor Gibson, meanwhile, looking to the inside of Ethan Sikorsky, trying to go for a move down the back straightaway. No joy, not able to have a run going for him this time by. So he will have to wait just a little bit longer. But Gibson is closing, right? He really wants to fight his way back up there. Take one final look at this incident with Michael Ashmore on the back straight, getting upset with Paul Satmary, and then that's a ride right there. The amount of airtime that car carried, and he's lucky that car didn't start to barrel roll and it landed down on all 4 wheels. Meanwhile, Gibson still on the offensive against the 94.
Gibson rotating the top side of the racetrack though, right? Riding right in the tires of Ethan Sikorsky around turns 3 and 4. Maybe the dirty air kind of rears its ugly head as David Leakey able to get down to the bottom side. Gibson couldn't quite get off of turn 4 quite as clean. David Leakey able to get that 84 down to the inside of his competitor. That number 31 ripping the outside of the racetrack, but the momentum around the outside of 1 and 2 is going to be way too much for the 84 to handle. He's just going to have to slide back in line into 3rd place and try to mount another challenge side by side a little bit further back. Here comes Benjamin Lacey. He might have thought, all right, tire saving time is over. We ran 20 green flag laps on this tire set. Let's go ahead and up the ante a little bit into the top 5, just about for Benjamin Lacey, side by side for 6.
Ethan Sikorsky still did a good job on pulling clear from that outside line, but now Connor Gibson getting swallowed up for 2nd place here. Here goes David Lakey looking for the inside. Michael Ramos right behind. Going to do the same as Ramos gets down the inside. 3 wide. Coming down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. Ramos gets clear. Michael Thornton Jr., meanwhile, just behind, also trying to make a run at this. And there you see Dustin Ping. You see Benjamin Lacey also trying to have a bit of a run here. Lacey slipping up from the inside. Wyatt walk with a run up top, and they're all packed out. 4, 5 playoff contenders all under a blanket.
Oh, just about no room right there. That could have taken out a good handful of playoff cars if there was just a little bit less patience shown there. But hey, still lap number 25 out of 135. You don't want to end your day here too early, especially whenever you're fighting for a championship for berth. These guys know it, but man, it just takes one mistake, and all of a sudden your day, your championship could be over in the playoffs. Side by side still, though, this battle is not over. Dustin Ping on the outside, Benjamin Lacey on the inside, still fighting for 6th place, and it looks like Thornton Jr. starting to back up a bit to Benjamin Lacey. Ping around the outside, he wants 5th.
And Dustin Ping wants the 5th place spot. Trouble back straight away. Around goes Mike Massengill up into traffic, and boy, nearly took out, I think that was Michael, that was not Michael Ashmore. I don't know who that was. That may have been, that was Eddie Hagee. That nearly got wiped out by Massengill as he lifted off the brakes and let the car roll back onto the racetrack. And the yellow flag is out. Once again, take a look at what caused this one and expect to see a good chunk of drivers in for tires. Same deal, just got loose, started to wash up the track, back end swings around, and unfortunately, John Osborne going to finish the job, but that definitely wasn't on Osborne right there, and hard into the inside wall. And then this is why I'm not a fan of you, right? I mean, you see him wash up or lift off the brakes, trying to get the car rolling. I mean, he lifted off a few times and nearly took out a fellow competitor. I'm not a fan of that at all.
That's going to get some ire from the stewards, I think. I think they might take a little bit of a look at that, just coming back up on the racetrack. Now, if his wheel is broke, right, if his right front tire's off and he's thinking he can drive it back, and maybe he just stayed off the brake too long, maybe that's the case. He did hit really hard on that right side. Maybe the right front tire was broken worse than we thought.
But, I mean, that's...
I don't know.
I don't like that.
It's a little weird looking. I just, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt until I'm, for sure that he pulled across the track on purpose. I know how these cars handle whenever they are broken, and sometimes it just catches you out and it'll make you do something that looks really, really stupid, but it's not really your fault. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt for now.
Interesting call here. Tanner Marr taking fuel only again. Same story for Kevin Foster. Everyone else is taking tires.
Well, I can tell you right now, they're going to struggle like crazy on this restart. It's going to be unbelievably tough for these guys to get going. But, if they get a caution 15 laps in, before they go a lap down, all of a sudden they've got that extra tire set that they can come down and put on right then, and then they have 15 lap pressure tires. So I like the strategy call, for Tanner Marr. No disrespect to Tanner Marr, I think he's a great driver. But he's not typically a race winner here in the HTRL series, so put yourself on a different strategy. Try to do something different. I like this from the driver of the 44.
You just saw the look with Eddie Hagee as well on just how close that actually came. That was within a car length. Boy, rough ride there. And, how does this update the championship standings? Kevin Foster is back down pit road. Michael Thorpe Jr. has retaken that final spot. And now, what did I tell you? With Connor Gibson now being outside of the top 3, he now stands between Jaden Hopp and that final spot by only a single point. If he drops back one more, Gibson's had it.
Still a long ways to go, though. It's so hard to even want to talk about the standings right now because we just got so much time to get this thing figured out.
Ping to Hopp and Gibson separated by 4 points. 6 spots. Or 5 spots, sorry. That's unreal.
Fourth to fifth, separated by 2 points. 5th to 6th, separated by 1 point, and it keeps swapping 3rd to 4th to 1 point. I mean, this is ridiculous between 2nd to 6th. I mean, it's just unbelievably tight. There's no telling who makes the final 4 at the end of the night.
Well, the field's still set to have a good run here this afternoon as the iRacing pace car will yet again make that dive into pit road. Tanner Marr on the loud pedal. Green flag is back in there this time. Mostly fresh tires, saved for Marr, who is on old rubber.
He got fired off halfway decent there on the bottom side of the racetrack, but this is where you're really going to see some of the guys come newer tires make up some ground. Here on the exit of the corner, you can see that 44 struggling down on the bottom. He's just going to stay out of the way. Probably a smart move. He knows that these guys have way more rubber than he does. Not even a reason to put up a fight. 3 wide behind him could present an issue down into 3 and 4, but up in the race lead, Connor Gibson. He's got that thing back in the number 31. What a night it's been for Connor Gibson, man. He's brought his A game trying to make that Final Four.
And understandably so, right? Gibson is one of the drivers that has never made it to Final Four competition. The closest he's made it, I believe, has been the round of 12 before this season. So he is really desperate to want to go after a shot at the championship here. Tandemar continuing to hemorrhage positions. Again, no surprises here. He's now put 3 wide available. Sean Williams down on the low side. This is something that Mar expected, and he's just trying to run a clean line and stay out of the way.
And right now, probably the best place to do that would be the top side of the racetrack. You keep your momentum up off the corner so that you at least, can stay with the pack down the straightaways, but obviously you give everybody plenty of room down on the bottom to end up making the move on you. So I like Mar being stuck here on the outside. I think that's probably the best place for him. Like I said earlier, he's just hoping that we run 10, 15, 20 laps, and then another yellow flag comes out, and bam, he's got that extra set of tires to throw on and charge back through the field. So watch out for that 44 if that does happen. Coming down to 3, side by side for 3rd. Leaky on the outside, playoff driver, Dustin Pink down on the bottom. Both these guys trying to fight for this 3rd place spot, but the outside groove has just been so good off the corners. It's been tough to make that pass complete on the bottom.
Michael Ramos trying to see if he can have a run down the middle line here. Fastest lap of the race for Dustin Ping that time through as he's able to punch his way around the field. Still been 3 wide deeper in the pack, and it was Jonathan Canfield and Dalton Kilgore around Tandemar. Mar's just been hooked up into the outside wall. May have got hang on to Sikorsky. He's hanging on. Yeah, he hangs on to it though.
Oh my goodness, I was so worried for Tanner there. You don't want to be the one that wrecks. Whenever you throw an awkward strategy, ultimately able to hang on to the car. He's just going to hook one of these guys up here wreck a little bit later. The 27-71 stuck side by side. Ping one out in the battle with Leakey for the 3rd place spot. Now Leakey able to hang on to 4th over Thorpe Jr. 27. Michael Ramos though using that outside groove.
Man, look at
maximum potential.
You saw how quickly Ramos got around Michael Thorpe Jr. there, right? I mean, that inside line's got no pace off of turn 2 right now.
I mean, you got to think this ARCA car, very, very draggy car as Benjamin Lacey goes down to the bottom of Connor Gibson, making it side by side for the lead. But it's just so tough whenever a car has so much drag to be able to make that bottom line work down the back straightaway because look, up at the top, Pink says, well, I got nothing to do but push the 31, and all that does is push both those guys just about by Benjamin Lacey as he can't even hang on to 2nd here, coming down into 3 and 4. Still side by side for it, but again, Ping with the outside groove, probably just going to be able to push Gibson down the front straightaway again.
Headed all the way around into turn numbers 1 and 2 to the back straightaway. Plenty of drivers still in it to win here. Dustin Ping, the season 2 champion, now looking to the inside of his fellow playoff contender, also trying to go over the top spot. Out of the 6 playoff contenders that are present this afternoon, 5 of them are in the top 10.
You got to think we still got bonus points to award as well, right? So a lot of these guys fighting for, the lap lead bonus point, most lap leads bonus point, no incident bonus point, whatever bonus points you can get out there. It's not just positions that matter at the end of the day. It's those bonus points. How many can you accumulate? I think Dustin Pink's trying to get up here and get one of those points. Just couldn't do it though. Benjamin Lacey on the outside, able to go right back by.
On the right-hand side of the timing screen, you can see exactly how many laps each driver has led tonight. Gibson right now tied with Sikorsky for the most at 13, and now he officially takes the bonus point for leading those laps, having led 14 laps now on the day. And every lap that Gibson stays out there in front, it makes it harder and harder and harder for other playoff contenders to go up and match that number.
You're absolutely correct. Still, obviously, 97 laps left in this race. There's a lot of opportunity to get some laps under your belt, but it seems to be really hard to pass the leader, especially on the newer tires, right? If they stay committed to that top side, can you clear them on the bottom so that you can lead a lap, so that you can completely pass them and then lead multiple laps back to back to back? Here, Benjamin Lacey trying to do it. He's going to throw the slider down on the 1, slide back up the racetrack in front of Gibson. He made that look easy.
Benjamin Lacey with a big slider in 1 and 2, able to pick off Connor Gibson for the lead of the race. Gibson will see if he can fight back. Right now, 3 wide. Into turn 3, Thorpe on the bottom, Lake in the middle, Kilrow forward playoff contender up on top. Sean Williams also up on the outside. Kilrow gets into the wall as here comes Kyle Wellman now. Wellman trying to see if he can fight back as Wellman wants to establish himself as a potential threat going into season number 5. And once again for the lead, it's the Canadian trying to get around Benjamin Lacey.
Won't be able to do it here coming down the back straightaway. Lacey with the drive off of turn number 2 from the top side of the racetrack. Going to be able to hang on. So Gibson falling back to the second place position once again. But you mentioned Dalton Kilrow just a moment ago being a former playoff contender. You'd almost pencil in Dalton Kilrow to the round of 8 year after year here in the High Tide Racing League, but it just did not happen for him this season. Was not able to make this round. Unlucky at Talladega in the round of 12. He's just trying to get a win to kind of bolster his season. He's got a good couple of them on the season. But here, we haven't really said his name too much. I would expect Atlanta to be one of his better tracks, but he's just kind of been biding his time, running from, about 6th place to 15th place all night long.
Yeah, I mean, for Kilrow, this racetrack is one that I think he's seen better days on. He's still doing a decent job, right? I mean, he's clawing his way around Wellman as Wellman actually catches the wall on the exit of the quad oval. I think Kilrow is just more struggling with the fact that he's trying to race on a bunch of playoff contenders, right? I mean, he doesn't want to disrupt the battle for the title too much, especially being a series administrator, but that doesn't mean that he isn't still out to go for another race win here. It's just it's a tough racetrack all around right now. The high track is not helping. Rainbow's into the outside wall. Hold on, as Wyatt Walker now gets in him. Walker down into Kyle Wellman, and we're going to have a pile of him down the straightaway. One car, hard to the inside wall. That's Michael Thorpe Jr. Thorpe is into the inside wall big. He collects Jonathan Canfield somehow. No caution again. Kilrow with a meatball. Michael Thorpe Jr. with the black flag. And Thorpe's championship hopes have just gone up in smoke.
I was just about to talk about you have to be so careful racing these playoff cars. If you're not in the playoffs, you got to be careful. But there, Ramos drove into the outside wall and cut back down in front of Wyatt. I don't know if Wyatt thought he was going to pull further down the quad oval, or we'll have to watch the replay to see the contact between Wyatt and Ramos. But that's a killer. Thorpe Jr.'s out.
Unbelievable, huge consequence with the championship. But again, second crash of the day that should have been a caution and wasn't. I'm at a bit of a loss for words. Now, granted, we cannot blame live race control for this because there is no live race control, right? This time, the blame lays squarely with iRacing.
And that's just kind of the game you play, right? The double-edged sword kind of with automatic cautions. Because if you go down through the grass...
That was in progress right there. We'll try to get a better look at this.
But yeah, if you go through the grass like Thorpe Jr. did, he was the only one that was, sideways on the... sideways while slowing down, but he was off the racetrack. So you're just not going to get that yellow.
And then down goes Thorpe, and bam! Hard into the inside wall and nearly wiped out the pace car.
I hate that for Michael Thorpe. He was having a good race. Felt like he was just biding his time in the top 10, just keeping his track position, making sure that he could be there at the end. And obviously, something just happens in front of him that he had no control over, and it's not like he can do anything. He's down there minding his own business, and the car comes and cleans him out. So, tough break. I don't blame Wellman. I don't think that whole thing was his fault.
Jeez. Well, the Green Flag TV camera will need to be getting insurance pay pretty soon because, I mean, they have been doing a fantastic job as of late. One more look, and we'll slow it down, and you'll see just how much air this 34 car caught here when he slammed into the concrete wall. Bam!
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. Man.
Through the pace car, slams back down, and then he's going to careen out of control into the door, Jonathan Canfield, as he came sliding down the racetrack.
Yeah, and that's, you see that left front tire was off the race car, so that's something Thorpe Jr. can't even fix, right? He is out of the race. It's not like he can get the damage repaired and hope everybody else wrecks out and makes it. Nah, Thorpe is going to, unfortunately, be one of your last couple of finishers here tonight. Man, I really think he had the potential to have the speed to do really, really good tonight.
Oh, we got more problems.
My goodness.
Another crash the first straight with more playoff drivers. Dustin Ping this time is involved, and Connor Gibson have both gone around. So more playoff drivers are now involved in problems.
That is from the top 3. What is going on? The playoff implosion at the Atlanta Motor Speedway right now.
Holy
We're not
cow.
even halfway through this race, and the playoff cars are just taking themselves out. This is what Jaden Hopp needs, not being here. He needs these guys to rack over and over.
Take a look back. Payne and Gibbs, they just come together. That's all that happened there. 2 cars just coming together on different lines. Harmless spins into the infield. Ping able to keep it off of pit road. I'm at a loss for words. This is a shocking race.
Oh, we got the yellow.
We sure do. And it is for yet another crash. This one involving Ty Marasco and Ethan Sikorsky.
They're with Gibson and Ping. You know, I think Ping was just expecting Gibson to track out earlier than he did. Gibson doesn't have to.
Oh, right there. That was, again, kind of in progress, but... Whoa, what in the world is going on at Atlanta Motor Speedway?
This isn't even the Super Speedway version.
No, it is not.
You expect it there, man. Everybody bunched up on top of each other, bump drafting like you do at Daytona Talladega. Here at the Old Atlanta, especially that many laps on tires.
Here we go.
You're a decent way into the
run.
run.
Sikorsky lost the back end. That's all that happened there. He just lost the back end, checked out. Ty Marasco, nowhere to go.
Yeah. That's another tough one. Whenever, you know, coming out of the corner, you obviously got to get on throttle. You're 100% throttle coming out of the corner just about every single time. It's hard to get checked up whenever somebody, you know, loses the back end right in front of you. I've been spun out from getting the back end a little too loose and somebody being too close to my back end before, and it's just kind of nobody's fault, in my opinion. I mean, it's kind of your own for getting loose, but it's more of a racing incident, right? You can't put any blame on Ty there.
Oh, boy. By the way, getting word as well that Dalton Kilrow will be joining the iRacing stewards in the broadcast booth now that his race is done to try to lend some more consistency to yellow flag calls being thrown. So, good grief. I mean, may as well, right? I mean, your race is done. You may as well help keep the rest of the race flowing smoothly. Benjamin Lacey out of pit road, 15 seconds in the box. Matt Crockett possibly he was only 9 seconds. Everyone else 14 seconds on down. So we need to recap. We need to do a long recap here of what has happened the last several laps. So let's start with what the heck happened to Michael Thorpe Jr. So this is Thorpe and Kilrow. This is coming off of turn numbers 3 and 4 here. Watch Michael Ramos up front. This happened on lap 43. Ramos is going to get up into the wall, causes a massive stack up, collects the field. Dalton Kilrow had big damage. Thorpe's championship hope ends with a heavy crash into the inside wall. Then just 5 laps later, Dustin Ping and Connor Gibson having this moment coming into turn numbers 3 and 4. Also off of turn 4. Gibson got a little bit loose, and Dustin Ping tracked up into him. 2 more playoff contenders getting involved. And we hadn't even fully wrapped our heads around this crash when Sikorsky and Ty Marasco then got together, also at a turn 4, and also from a car getting loose.
Goes to show you get to that longer run point, man, and those tires wear out, start getting loose. Hard to handle.
And all of this within just, what, not even 10 laps of each other.
It felt like less than that. I mean, it was a little ridiculous how fast everybody trying to take each other out there.
And look at how this changes the championship. Gibson out, Walker out, Thorpe out, Hopp on the bubble.
And how about Hobbs in? Jeremiah Hobbs, we haven't talked about him all night. All of a sudden, he's up to P5 here on the outside.
Oh,
what
absolutely.
can he do in that number 3?
Gibson and Walker and Thorpe all need to make up more spots, but Thorpe is not going to be able to do so. His championship hope ends, and for one more season, the Chicago native will end his season on the hauler. 3 flags back out. Benjamin Lacey breaks away. Michael Ramos clear behind him into turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, nothing more frustrating than having your race ended, your championship hopes ended whenever it's not your fault, like Thorpe Jr. just had. So hats off to him for a good season. It's tough break for the driver of the 34 here up at the front of the field, though. Playoff driver Benjamin Lacey, he's still in the race. He's still at the front of the field. He's still leading laps, but here comes Michael Ramos. He was a part of that accident. He got in the wall pretty hard, had some damage. He's up second. Did he not have any damage from all that we just saw? I suppose not, because 27 looks quick.
Ramos now going around the outside of Benjamin Lacey, trying to make a run around the top side and turn numbers 1 and 2 to the back straightaway. The pack still going to be making whatever efforts they can muster to try and have an effort going at him. One car up high. It's Matt Crockett almost into the outside wall in turn 4. Crockett gathers her up. They'll drop to the tail of the field. Dustin Ping, new fast lap. He's fighting back despite the adversity. And look at Gibbs around the outside of 3 wide.
It almost didn't work out. He almost got in the wall. He's going to have to give those spots back up, but that was an aggressive move from the driver of the 31. He's trying to get those points back that he just lost from that spin with Dustin Ping, trying to get these positions back. Man, he's going to do it again. Look at the 31 climb the banking up to the outside of the 3. 3 wide once again between 3 playoff cars off of turn 4.
Trying to battle back here. Ramos side by side with Philbin for the lane coming down to the turn number 1. And one car to the outside wall. That was Coruscant that just bodied the fence coming down to the turn numbers 1 and 2. Again, we keep it going straight. Sikorsky, new fastest lap of the race. Philbin still side by side with Ramos down the back.
Ramos going to get the drive down the back straightaway, though. Gibson, a little bit of an air push to the back of the 27, making sure that outside line continues to go faster and faster and faster, trying to pass that bottom line. And Gibson's doing that, man. He came back from the 10th place spot. He's just used that top side to his advantage, up to 2nd place now, side by side with Philbrick for the position, and I think he's going to clear here.
So Michael Ramos, all the way up to the lead of the race after after being the catalyst that caused so much grief for the playoff field earlier on. Now Sean Williams trying to look to the inside of Carter Gibson, trying to battle back. We'll keep the point standings up for a little bit to show how quick this is going to change. Jaden Hobbs still in the bump spot, but Jeremiah Hobbs has been pushed out. Hobbs only out by 1 point right now, while Carter Gibson and Jaden Hobbs both up to tie for that final spot. Wyatt Walker also in striking distance.
Side by side here, how about Sean Williams? He's charged to the front, side by side now for 2nd. On the inside of Connor Gibson in that number 89. Also side by side behind Tanner Marr on that alternate strategy a bit. I think he's got the same tires as everybody right now, but I think he's got that extra tire set in the back pocket in case he needs it a little bit later. He's got himself back up into the top 5. How about Tanner Marr in the 44?
Look at the fierce battle path for the lead of the race. 1st to 8th separated by just over half a second now. Shaw Williams gets clear. Michael Ramos. Ramos going to slip back. Dustin Ping and Connor Gibson still too wide for 3rd and 4th. Philbrick, Mars, Sikorsky, and more all getting involved. And the fight for the lead continues.
How about Sean Williams? Hasn't had the season he wanted, just missed out on the playoffs after he did as well as he could to try to get himself back into position. I believe he did, he's gotten some really good runs throughout the season that kept him in playoff position, or at least, within fighting distance for a long time. Just could not quite make the playoffs, but here at Atlanta, as we near halfway, that number 89 looking to cap off this season with a W.
To the front straightaway. Ryan Philbrick still retains the lead all the way up to the outside. Dustin Ping down on the inside, trying to clear. Dustin Ping slips up from the bottom, while Tanner Marr battles the inside of Benjamin Lacey. And Lacey at this point is just looking to secure a spot in.
This might be the furthest out we've seen the leader get from anybody all night, other than whenever, obviously, we had the accidents happen with no yellow flag. But just on pure merit, Sean Williams has pulled out 4/10, which, in a normal car doesn't sound like a lot. But here in the ARCA car at 1.5 miles, you don't typically break the draft by 4 or 5 tenths if you're the race leader on newer tires. So Sean Williams doing the work at the front of this field. I just hope he's not burning the tires up too quick.
We'll check in on the live champion standings again in the wild. Compelling as they are, trading around with every single swap of position out here on the racetrack. Larry Bell potentially looked for a bit of 3 wide back there, although it was not a 3 wide that ended up materializing. And again, Benjamin Lacey now sizing up a run as he's got Sikorsky trying to chase him down.
Side by side for 4th place spot. Gibson down to the bottom. Sikorsky still wrapping the top side. He's been really good up top, right? He's been using that second, the third lane multiple times here tonight. Sikorsky led a lot of laps early. I believe it was 13 of about the first 20 or 25 of this thing. So Sikorsky's got some pace. He got spun out whenever we saw those 3 should have been yellows under the last run, but he's recovered nicely until now because he gets put in the middle 3 wide. Gibson to the bottom. Lacey up to the top. Rambo's going to cover off Lacey, but Sikorsky's going to lose 2 spots.
Working around into turn numbers 3 and 4. It'll be 70 laps to go here at the line as Ramos keeping up the fight. You've also got this fight back here with Osborne, Wellman, Marasco, and Phillips all under a blanket, but no playoff contenders that deep in the field, save for maybe Jeremiah Hobbs. Right now, Benjamin Lacey is going to pick off 3rd.
Marin Ping almost had a moment there off the turn 2, but further back, still side by side. John Osborne on the outside. Kyle Wellman down on the bottom. Oh, Osborne cleared Wellman, but then Wellman got into the left front quarter panel there at the 30. A little bit of contact, shipped him up the racetrack. Now 3 wide, really tight 3 wide coming out of turn 4. Marasco almost takes to the dirt to get the move done. It looks like Ty Marasco is going to be able to pick up the spot on Wellman. Can he clear the 30 coming down into turn 1? Oh, no, he gets shipped by Kyle Wellman. A little bit of contact. He slides it back up the racetrack in front of Kyle. 3 wide again as the 30 hits the fence, gets in the right rear tie and back into the fence, and somehow we're all still straight.
Well, they're trying to wreck again, aren't they? As everyone is just having a time of it here. Ty Marasco sent down onto the inside of the racetrack, able to pull her up, though. This is what just transpired, and, well, we'll back this up by a few more seconds there as Carter Phillips gets up and into the outside wall. Just a shot to the shorts.
They were making some decent contact on the last green flag run, racing for position. So maybe a little bit of hard feelings there between Marasco and Wellman beforehand that led to that bump and run down into 1, at least the attempted bump and run there from Kyle Wellman. Luckily for Marasco, he's the one that, it all kind of pans out for. As looks like Ramos here diving down to the inside of the 06. So Ryan Philbrick, he's trying to pick up this spot, get up to the 3rd place spot. It looks like he's going to clear him coming off of turn number 2. It looks like Sikorsky got ever so slightly sideways coming out of the corner as well.
Clear him he will as Philbrick now has to contend with Connor Gibson looking to the inside. All of this will take us past the halfway point of racing action this afternoon. Connor Gibson still on the inside, keeping Philbrick at bay. You've also got Ethan Sikorsky trying to make a run for down the bottom as Sikorsky going to track up, although no dice for him so far. Tanner Marr and Dustin Ping behind. They're making a run at it. Dustin Ping trying to retain up on the top shelf. Tanner Marr sliding a little bit out of turn 4, and here comes Corcel.
Side by side coming out of turn number 2. Corcel using the outside to his advantage, able to use that momentum, getting around the 44 Tanner Marr. Now using the momentum to get to the inside of Dustin Ping. Marr now under attack from Kevin Foster down into 3 and 4. A lot of side by side, including up at the front of the racetrack. Benjamin Lacey able to take the race lead away from Sean Williams around the outside of 3 and 4.
Benjamin Lacey to the point right now. Max points on the line for Lacey. Drivers elsewhere continue to have their own runs hampered. We are steadily running down the gap here as Ryan Philbrick to the inside. Ramos up on the outside. Sikorsky still in the fray, is yet to be decided. Connor Gibson as well Now trying to look 3 wide up the middle, nearly gets into Sikorsky, and man, we're not gonna have any breath left by the end of this night, are we, Austin?
I think that's pretty safe bet at this point. The way that these guys have been racing, I mean, unless we just go green to the end and we finally get some field spread, but the way that we've been racing each other, I don't know. It could just take 2 cars getting side by side and we, get another accident at some point. So, it's just, I don't know. I think the action's going to continue the whole way.
Philbrick still trying to have an attack on Nicholas Coruscant down the inside. Oh, it's Tanner Marr. Oh, hold on. We got Carter Phillips over to the outside wall. Tanner Marr checking up as well as Phillips is at an issue.
Phillips kind of taking positions there, taking time, just losing all of his track position and completely dropping off the track for these guys as well. Going to be tougher, but this way back up here. He just completely lost the draft here in the ARCA car. It's going to matter a lot on the mile and a half, so I think he could have a little bit of damage as well. So Phillips is just going to be hoping and praying for a yellow flag to come out at any moment. Up here, still though, Hobbs, he restarted 5th. Did decent at the beginning, but he started to drop positions here the last couple of laps. He's fallen to the back of this main pack, back to 11th. I don't know if 11th is going to be good enough for Jeremiah Hobbs to make the final.
Coming back straight away! Larry Bell, Kyle Wellman all around. And they're not the only ones, as Carter Phillips is up against the outside wall as well.
Oh, man.
And caution is going to come out once again, this time in quick fashion. And this is what happened here. It was a 3-car crash on the back straightaway, and this one looked like there were some pretty sizable hits here. Carter Phillips was really slow on the racetrack, right? I mean, he had been lapping very slowly. Look at how quickly he's being caught by these guys. I don't know why he's driving so slow. Probably the front end that's been ripped apart off that race car. So he's hit the wall somewhere. Eventually just lost the back end, came around, got into John Osborne, hard into the outside wall, and Kyle Wellman sent for a ride, and Larry Bell just slips through the middle.
How about Larry Bell there? That was incredible. Great job from Larry to get through there. That should have been his race done and dusted, just like Phillips, Osborne, and everyone else there. But luckily for Larry Bell, he was able to make the right move to get through there. That was a heck of a job.
Hard hit, though, for Kyle Wellman up into the outside wall. I mean, that car really went into it with a huge lick. This is on board with Larry Bell and what he saw. Oh, boy. Good wheel work.
It almost looked like he was trying to go down there and get Wellman. It almost looked like a heat-seeking missile. He was turning left like he was trying to go down there and meet him, but he was able to just barely avoid it. They're coming off the 2, so no harm, no foul. Good job, Larry Bell.
The field makes their way down and out of pit road. Pretty much everybody coming down this time. No surprise here, right? Everyone coming down this time. Nobody wanted to be the black sheep staying out there on the racetrack. One more time as Carter Phillips. Yeah, look at that front end. That car was already had major front end damage. And he's going to go into the wall, and then look at how violently Kyle Wellman is going to get kicked sideways there, up into the air, and that sent him spearing down and into the inside wall.
It's going to be a race over for Wellman. That right front tire looked like it was off the race car. Maybe it teleported back on. Sometimes you have a little bit of internet lag with the damage as it repairs itself, so we'll have to keep an eye on Wellman, but he has been on pit road for, I think I just saw 111 seconds consistently, so I think that might be race over for Kyle.
J.D. Hopp and Jeremiah Hobbs right now tied with the bump spot. They are both with 36 behind the leader. Jeremiah Hobbs with room for improvement. He is situated back in 6th. He can move up some spots to put Hopp onto the bump spot fully. Same story for Connor Gibson. Gibson with room for improvement as well. So again, Jaden Hopp not safe so long as he's got at least 3 of his other playoff contenders still on the racetrack. Wyatt Walker also with the ability to improve and fight his way up and in there, because Walker is also still on the racetrack and critically still on the lead lap.
You know, all these guys, you know, honestly, still in it, except obviously Thorpe Jr. and Bassinger didn't, you know, not do much there. Obviously 89 out. So Thorpe, though, going to be out of it. Walker, Gibson, Hobbs, Hop, who's not here, and Pang, though, like you said, all within fighting distance to be able to get, you know, those last 3 transfer spots. I think Lacey and Lissy Rex probably has the top spot locked up. But, man, it's all about 2nd through 4th. Who is going to fill those spots?
Past the halfway point this afternoon, Benjamin Lacey, Sean Williams, and more side by side as they work to the front. Green flags out, and racing action resumes from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Benjamin Lacey clear to turn 1. Sean Williams, Ethan Sikorsky, 2nd and 3rd behind as we enter the first couple of corners.
He's easily out to the lead, side by side for 2nd. Williams on the outside, going to keep the momentum down the back straightaway. Ramos trying to get to his back bumpers. He's getting a little bit of an air shove from Jeremiah Hobbs on the outside. Sean Williams down to the inside, looking down to the bottom, trying to get to the left rear of Benjamin Lacey here through 3 and 4. Lacey going to use the momentum, though, off of that corner, keep the race lead. Sean Williams still tucked right up behind. Driver of the number 7, though, and now side by side for 2nd. Ramos trying to get to the right rear quarter panel of Sean.
Oh, Sean Williams slips up from the inside. That lets Ramos get the drive around the top. So Ramos going to go up to the number 2 spot. Benjamin Lacey still retains the lead. Sikorsky jumps up high. Jeremiah Hobbs, he wants to fight his way through up towards the outside wall as Michael Ramos clears with the race lead. Not quite. Sean Williams looking 3 wide for 2nd, and all of a sudden, leads with a problem. He drops back.
Holy cow. I mean, every turn of this race is just something different. Different cars leading, different playoff cars, different non-playoff cars. Doesn't matter at this point. We're just seeing so much shuffling throughout the field. It just takes one mistake and you lose 10 spots. All of a sudden, Michael Ramos up at the front of the field. He's getting some heat from Jeremiah Hobbs. First time that we've said Hobbs' name up in the top 4 tonight, and he's side by side for 2nd, side by side for the lead, trying to take it away from Ramos.
Michael Ramos up on the outside is not going to make it easy for the Midwest Motorsports number 3, but up to the top he clears. Just shuts the door on Michael Ramos as they cruise into turn numbers 3 and 4. But Ramos seeking to battle back around the top side. He's got some traffic with Sikorsky. Can he get the nose in there? Not quite this time by. Ramos, though, he's looking for it. He's there! Michael Ramos looking to go around the top back into turn number 1.
Oh, it was aggressive from Hobbs off at 2, but just cleaning up. Then off of 4 to 27, just barely able to get to the right rear. Hobbs left him the room, and Ramos took it. And now through 1 and 2 once again. Ramos is going to use that drive up the top side of the racetrack, and he's going to take the lead back.
Some lap traffic just up the road, looking to disrupt the run. That lap traffic going to pull down the inside. That was John Osborne. Up to the top side now is Jeremiah Hobbs, also trying to fight his way up and around. So Hobbs going to go up around the top side. Connor Gibson trying to go up and around the top side. Sean Williams is stuck on the bottom. Without this, like Philbrick also making tracks.
Such a frustrating position to be in, right? Stuck on the bottom here if you're Williams or Hobbs. You just see the long train of cars coming around the top side of the racetrack and just not let you have a hole back into the group, right? Williams down here on the bottom just trying to maintain while not killing his tires. Same with Hobbs, doing everything they can to find a hole and try to find some momentum on the top side of the racetrack and maybe make another move. But right now, just stuck on the bottom. Hobbs, Williams, not able to go anywhere.
Giving you a chance to ride on board with several of these race cars, right? And kind of giving the understanding that, hey, this track looks wide. It is anything but. There is so little room to maneuver in these race cars. Connor Gibson wants to try and put it 3 wide up the middle now. As the field fights to the back straightaway. Sean Williams trying to look to the inside. And now back to the look from the outside. As the crew fires back around to the turn numbers 3 and 4. Connor Gibson trying to make a run up the middle.
Sikorsky still just absolutely committed to that top side of the racetrack. And that number 94 Toyota Camry into 2nd place position. He's trying to get to the outside of the 27 here through 1 and 2, driving up the banking, trying everything he can, trying to get his foot to the gas, but not quite able to build the run that he needed. Still side by side for 2nd place, but that's gonna end here. Hobbs did not get the momentum off of turn 2. Now side by side for 3rd. Hobbs gonna drive it in deeper down into turn number 3. Side by side again with the number 94. But again, Sikorsky on the outside. He's gonna hang on to that right rear, and he's gonna get the momentum down the front straightaway and try to make another move on Michael Ramos as we come down to turn 1.
firing up and around into the opening couple of corners. There is the battle for first on back all the way to a 9th or 10th. Side-by-side leg gets a pace lap here at 180 miles an hour. Down the back straightaway, Ramos still pulling clear. Sikorsky still batted out with Jeremiah Hobbs as everyone else are behind. Just cannot find a hole to get down the inside of each other. And to the front, Ramos is still clear with that race lead, but side-by-side for third on back.
Nearly 3 wide. Williams gets down to the inside of Hobbs as Gibson is going around the outside. Williams trying to continue that momentum. Don't think he's going to be able to get to that left rear quarter panel. In fact, Lacey's going to be able to stuff it middle on him. 3 wide again. Sean Williams sliding back positions in contact between Tanner Marr and Benjamin Lacey. Marr got Marr sideways. Coming down the racetrack. Gets into Kevin Foster and then back up the racetrack into Larry Bell and then the outside wall.
More trouble front straightaway as Eddie Haggett goes around. No caution for the crash, though, on the back straightaway. Or in turn 4, sorry. Tanner Marr into pit road. Connie Gibson on top, trying to make a run on into Sikorsky from behind. 3 wide, looking for the middle. But that crash was inevitable. Waiting to happen there, Austin. And now, we're still not done yet. We got another crash on the horizon here. You can feel it coming.
Man, I was about to say, I don't think it's going to be the last one. Last time that we started seeing people knocking each other off the racetrack, we had 3 cautions before we actually had the caution. So I think we're in for more accidents here pretty soon. The aggression's just starting to pick up here at the front of the field. Gibson again trying to get to the right rear quarter panel. There's barely any room. Can he get there? Ramos
Dodge him behind! No! Look out! Dustin Ping, the season's new champ, is into the outside wall. He collects Sean Williams. Caution comes out. Bell scrambles, and the yellow flag comes out. And yet another playoff driver is collected. Dustin Ping for the 2nd time tonight.
Oh, it was inevitable. You said it, right? You said it as soon as you saw the first contact. We're going to get another one here pretty soon. And unfortunately for Dustin Ping, another playoff contender, he happened to be the one.
That was the initial crash. There was Tanner Marr that sent him hard to the outside wall with Matt Crockett. Eddie Haggy spun down to the inside. And then this was working to the back straightaway as he got into it with Ty Marasco and then up into the outside wall with Sean Williams in pretty hefty fashion.
Couldn't tell if Lacey got the fence out of 2, and that made Ping's, yep, Lacey got the fence out of 2. That made Ping go down the racetrack. They would have been fine, but Ping reacted to Lacey hitting the wall, and unfortunately came down into the nose of Ty Marasco, and Sean Williams was having a good race, man, and then the 81, unfortunately, comes right back up in front of the nose of the 89 there. No, another racing incident, honestly. You can't put fault on that. Ping's just reacting to a car getting the wall on his outside. Your instinct is to turn left and give him a little bit more room because people just pull the car off the wall on this service. And unfortunately there, Ping, yeah, again, he was just reacting to the car on the wall.
Spin down the inside for Ping, and well now, that brings pretty much everybody down to pit road except for the Season 1 champion Benjamin Lacey and Ethan Sikorsky, who opt to stay out. That's
an interesting strategy. I wonder exactly how many tire sets a lot of these guys have left coming to the end of this race, though, right? A lot of these guys might only have 1 set left at this point, and if that's the case, this would be the last set for everybody coming down pit road right now, and that would leave guys like Sikorsky and Lacey with another set. I'm not 100% confident on that. I don't quite know how many sets of tires everybody's taking here tonight.
We'll have the chance here under the yellow flag to be able to give a chit-chat here to one of the drivers that, unfortunately, is out of the race, and one of the drivers that will have to be able to maybe lend some insights here. We'll bring Dalton Kilrow up into the broadcast booth. Dalton, it's been one of the most intense cutoff races this league has seen in its history. Several playoff drivers experiencing some pretty hefty incidents here tonight, and, of course, more iRacing shenanigans going to cause some questions of its own, but not a whole lot high tide race they could do about those iRacing stuff. It's just iRacing on the new season build, right? As a league administrator, how do you take this one going in?
Yeah, it's not great seeing all the inconsistencies that iRacing has constantly been, showing. It's just kind of been magnified tonight by the update. So, sucks that we've had quite a few drivers out of this race because of wrecks where there hasn't been a caution, and apparently there's also been some other shenanigans that have brought out cautions that are much less. So I don't know what iRacing race control is doing, but all I know is I'm just sitting here and watching, and of course they decide they're going to start, spreading out just a little bit as soon as I'm off the track. So that sucks.
Well, as a driver, your championship may be over this season, right? You know you're not going to be able to defend it going into the final season here, but some potential format changes coming into season number 5. Do you plan on coming back to try to become the High Time Racing League's first repeat champion, assuming we don't get one from Homestead next week?
Oh, absolutely. I will absolutely be trying to go for a double chip. So, especially since we're going to be going to the Gen 4 car, that should be good.
Well, you heard it here first. Breaking news: Gen 4 cars will be the name of the game in season number 5. Dalton, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Unfortunately, finishing his race down at 23rd here this afternoon. But Austin, some big news. We'll talk about that more going forward. But in the meantime, double file as we're back to green in turn 2.
Single file now for the top 2. Sikorsky and Lacey able to take those top 2 spots. Here, though, it's a little bit of a mess as Gibson starting to lose position, stuck on the bottom of the racetrack. Philbrick, Hobbs, Ramos all going by. And now Hobbs back to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to make up some ground here, trying to pass Philbrick. Looks like that top side still just has way too much momentum.
And that outside lane has had a lot of pace throughout the course of the afternoon, and it's been a hard contended battle with, heads up as Connor Gibson and Tom Marasco both thought about going 3 wide in the middle at the same time, and that means both cars stalled out. They risk going 4 wide for a moment, and that will allow for Kevin Foster to start to get a bit of a run going. Meanwhile, Benjamin Lacey trying to pull up and clears the course. Sikorsky's loose up top, but Lacey hangs on for the lead.
Heck of a pass there from Lacey on the bottom side of the racetrack on Ethan Sikorsky. He got as high up as he possibly could, used as much racetrack as he could, get to the left rear of the 94 and able to complete that move. Now Sikorsky looking down to the inside through 1 and 2. Not going to be able to get the momentum back on Lacey. Just going to have to tuck back in the trap, try to pull closer and mount another challenge. But again, a lot of these guys behind him have new tires. Do they end up coming through the field and challenging these guys here soon?
And Sikorsky a bit too wide. He's going to slip back. Ramos gets through into the second place spot. Under 40 laps to go in the round of 8 elimination race. Setting ourselves up for the final 4 this coming week at Homestead Miami Speedway. 3 wide around the outside for Philbrick as Jeremiah Hobbs is caught in the middle.
Hobbs going backwards in the middle. Marasco using that to his advantage. Getting that position around the outside of the racetrack. Ty, one of those guys that really, really loves the high side. I've seen him use it time and time again at Homestead Miami. Here at Atlanta, it is just as good. And Ty Marasco's using it to perfection right now, trying to take the 6th place position away from sideways. Oh, Lacey! Lacey! It's Benjamin Lacey!
The season 1 champion going around. No caution, though, again, as Benjamin Lacey will spin to the inside. Now, the good news is Lacey is more or less secure with the championship. He doesn't have much to worry about. But that is still yet another playoff tender of all. Now, Philbrick gets into Marasco, nearly gets into Sikorsky.
Oh, that was so tight coming out of turn 4. The aggression level has shot up tremendously. We are absolutely wrecking again. There's no chance. Philbrick down to the bottom. Marasco a little tight through the center. Sikorsky going to use the outside to his absolute advantage. Taking both positions away. The 94 sideways somehow saves it. I don't know how Ethan Sikorsky hung on.
We'll get a look at Lacey's spin in a moment. For now, Matt Crockett to the back end, gives a shot to the shorts of Connor Gibson. Hagen goes 3 wide up the middle. Philbrick still down on the inside line. No one is able to find a hole or find a way through. 3 wide again. Coruscant says, "Let me out," as he tries to get through on the inside. Gibson's there sideways again, trying to hold on. Marasco squeezing off Coruscant meanwhile. And it's complete pandemonium on the racetrack.
And these guys fighting for 3rd like this is just like Kevin Foster and Michael Ramos run away. How about Kevin Foster? He got a black flag at the beginning of this race, and right now the strategy has worked out where he's got new tires, and he is flying.
Foster clears Ramos with the race lead. 2 by 2 down the front straightaway. We're not going to have any times where it's going to back off more than this, so let's take this chance to look back at what happened to Benjamin Lacey a couple laps ago. Michael Ramos pushed to the back bumper of him, Did he turn him coming down the front straightaway? Lacey tried to pinch into the outside wall, and he did that to himself.
I think I agree. I think he ran him down a little bit too low, and a little bit of contact punched Lacey back up into the outside wall. Crazy error to see out of Benjamin Lacey. That's not typically you see something out of the driver of the 7.
Hey, playoffs will do that, right? It's a critical point in the championship. You cannot afford to make those types of errors, and well,
there's not a playoff car in the top 8. What? This is insanity. No playoff car has gotten themselves in the top 8 at this point with 34 laps to go in the race. Now 33 as they come across the stripe. I mean,
and with Lacey being spun, that has now made it so every single playoff driver that's in this race has at least once been involved in a crash.
Oh, wow, that's a crazy stat. And looking at the standings, I mean, Lacey, like you said, still good. He's fine. As long as he finishes this race, he'll be all right. And with how many retirees we've had, I think he's going to be okay anyway. Jaden Hopp, obviously big question mark because he's not here. He's only got 3 points to the good over White Walker right now. And again, like I said, there's no playoff car in the top 8. It seems like there's only positions to gain for the playoff cars, which is not something Jaden Hopp wants to see.
Jaden Hobb right now situated second in the points. But Jeremiah Hobbs has just cleared to tie it up. Second through fourth, separated by a single point. Walker only 2 behind the bump spot. And Wyatt Walker has room to move as well. Michael Ramos back around the outside of Kevin Foster for the lead.
Oh man, these guys swapping it back and forth, and now they're starting to bring these other cars back into the fray. Maybe pushed a little bit too hard at the start of this run because the 27 and 8 are starting to get caught. Nicholas Corcel has driven through the field, and he's gotten up to 3rd. Not only up to 3rd, but he's cut the gap down to the lead, down to 0.3 of a second. They were second and a half back just a handful of laps ago, and now Corcel all over the back bumper of Kevin Foster, trying to get to his outside for second.
Corcel going to get around Foster's foul. I think Kevin Foster may have burned up all of his equipment here just trying to make this run happen. So he is now going to start to slowly slide through the field. Scott Shire going to pick off Connor Gibson and cause Gibson to lose another point. Meanwhile, Eddie Hackey and Matt Crockett 2 by into turn numbers 3 and 4. And they are also 2 by for the lead.
Just about. Ramos able to have the run off the top side, able to stay clear for a moment, but now down to the 1 and 2 again. Corcel in that number 40. He's done a great job running these guys down. And again, side by side for the race lead. How many times have we swapped the race lead here tonight? It feels like it's been about 15 or 20 times that we've seen a different race leader at the front of the field. It's still side by side between Ramos and Corcel. Oh, Kevin Foster has been destroyed through turns 3 and 4 with Larry Bell.
Oh, look at him! He nearly takes out Connor Gibson as he slides back up the racetrack.
Oh my goodness, that was almost a championship ender for Gibson.
Kevin Foster demolished. He collected Larry Bell. As we have had problems in turn number 3. Take a look back. And this one, Austin, was with help. They were going 3 wide. Hagee looked for the inside. Crockett looked for the outside, and Hagee sends her in and takes out Kevin Foster.
And this is huge. That's a big impact for the 8. And obviously Larry Bell, nowhere to go. That's going to be heavy front end damage to the 43s. You see the front bumper just fall off. Actually, I think the right front tire failed as well, so that's going to be a race ender for the 43. And the big moment was Foster coming up the racetrack after the wreck, and Gibson almost finding a piece of it.
This is actually one of the first crashes of the afternoon where no playoff contenders had any involvement in it. Though Connor Gibson nearly had himself get caught up in this.
That could be a championship for making move for Connor Gibson. All these guys are going to be, if they got a tire set left, they're going to come down and take it right now. And it's just a dogfight from here on out. It looks like Ramos and Corcel stayed out, but everybody else on pit road likely taking tires.
The driver to Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, making quite the avoidance up there, up on the top side of the racetrack, as Benjamin Lacey will lead the field down to pit road. few drivers have stayed out. Crockett, Corso, Ramos, all remaining at the head of the racetrack. This is going to be a wild restart here. We'll take ourselves a quick step back, and when we return, racing action continues on Green Flag TV. It's going to be a wild final 25 laps. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. We are about to go to Green Flag Racing, and Austin, was this a sight you were expecting to see with 1 lap to go?
I mean, considering he did just nose it into the wall, I'm not too surprised, I guess.
I'm not surprised he has the damage. I'm surprised he's out here.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't. This is very Dale Earnhardt 1997-esque.
Well, even that car drove straight.
Yeah, but it didn't have any fenders on it.
Oh, that doesn't matter. Green flag's back in the air. Hey, he's gonna run with it. Kevin Foster taking the green flag as we're back to green.
I love it. I love it. I really hope the field doesn't catch him though, because they can wreck.
Somebody put deja vu behind that. That'd make a great meme.
He's laying down tire tracks. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
There's no way he's going to be allowed to still be on the racetrack when the leaders come around to him, surely. But, well, here we go. Back in the turn numbers 3 and 4. The green flag very much back out on the racetrack. Eddie Hagge leading the way. Philbrick fighting out from behind. Connor Gibson right now the furthest driver up in terms of playoff contenders. He can still make up positions here on other drivers. He's just got to hope that his fellow competitors can't make up spots either.
Gibson currently the highest running playoff car. Hagge, Sikorsky, Gibson, the top 3. Michael Ramos, though, in the side-by-side battle with Gibson for that 3rd place spot. Gibson gets a shot from Forcell down to turn 3. Can Gibson clear the 27? He's going to get it done, and he's going to get it done easy. Move Connor Gibson up to P3. He feels the Final 4. He can taste the Final 4. He's got to do everything he can to get up here towards the race lead to try to make it. Look at Connor Gibson go, and just look at Kevin Foster go.
These guys have got to be careful, though, right? Because Kevin Foster, remember, he is right now lapping almost 7 seconds a lap slower. They're going to be catching with about 3 or 4 laps here, Austin. This could get nerve-wracking. He would not be the first driver to collect other. He would not be the first driver to collect a fellow race contender on the racetrack this season for having an extremely damaged race car and refusing to come in and fix the damage. It is worth noting, Foster does not have a meatball flag, so at least for my racing, he is under no obligation to come down pit road.
I'll be honest, I did the exact same thing in a different league, Sunday Night League.
Hold on!
Contact! They
contact
contact
hard into the
Ramos.
outside wall. And into it again in turn 3, but it looks like not with too much, not with enough damage to actually disrupt the run. Sorry, you were saying.
I did the same thing for our Sunday Night League that we call here on Green Flag TV, the MFRD, sorry, that's what we're calling right now, the Blazing Pedals League on Sunday nights. I run in that one, and well, I had a wreck at Kansas where my car looked exactly like Kevin Foster's. I tried to do what Foster did. It lasted about 30 laps, and then the tires finally wore enough to where the car wouldn't work, and it finally just wrecked itself. So if I'm Foster, I think just pull it off. You don't want to risk these guys' race with it being a championship advancement race. If I would like for Foster to pull off from experience, because I shouldn't have done it whenever I did it. So I do hope Foster pulls off.
Several drivers getting a little bit loose at turn number 4. Sean Williams was among them. as he now has to contend with Scott Shire and Jeremiah Hobbs, and you still see the tire treads being put down from Foster's car all the way throughout the racetrack, especially though in the corners. I think you can kind of see them down there on the inside line, kind of straddling that apron there, as there is Foster. He has in fact pulled it off, and he is coming down pit road.
Smart call. I respect it from Kevin Foster. He did it right before the leaders got to him. I think that's fair. You know, he was only one lap down. Maybe he's thinking, okay, I'll get the caution, lucky dog, I'll fix some of the damage, and maybe they'll just reckon up for me to gain some spots. It didn't happen. He pulled it off before they got to him. That's respect right there for Kevin Foster.
So the battle is on for the race lead. 20 laps to go. We're going to pull up the championship standings, and these standings will remain on screen from here to the end of the race as Benjamin Lacey trying to pull clear, and just like that, one pass sees Wyatt Walker drop from third of the points to fifth.
It's a three-way tie. It's a three-way tie from third to fifth between those three, and that's not including the bonus points. Dustin Pink sliding in front of Sikorsky. That's crazy tight up at turn 2. That's aggressive. That's a guy trying to make the final 4 right there.
Dustin Pink has got to back it off a little bit, right? He's got a 9-point deficit he's got a 9-point gap to third, sorry. That is manageable. He can afford to lose a place or two and still fight his way into the final 4. It's Gibson, Hop, and Walker, and realistically Jeremiah Hobbs as well, that all need to get a move on.
Well, you got to think about it too, right? You would say, well, Gibson and Walker can make up positions to pass Ping, but Hop cannot, right? Because Hop is not in this race. So Ping, as long as he doesn't drop 9 positions, he will stay ahead of Jaden Hop no matter what. He would lose 2 spots potentially to Gibson and Walker, but guess what? That would still be 4th place. So Ping sitting ridiculously pretty right here in the 3rd place spot. He doesn't need to go forward. He doesn't need to go back. He is fine where he is at.
Ty Marasco and Sikorsky side by side. These are 2 drivers that are not contending for a playoff run, and so they are more or less secured. Right now, Dustin Ping trying to put Connor Gibson off of the 8 ball. And confirmation, by the way, from HTRL administration, in the event of a points tie, they will go by highest finisher in the race. So that would be, of course, right now, Connor Gibson winning that 3-way tie. But if the Ping gets around Gibson, then all of a sudden it would be Jeremiah Hobbs swinging back. Sorry, it would be Wyatt Walker swinging back in favor, because Jaden Hobbs not in this race to be a contender.
So he would get bumped out because Walker would finish ahead of Hop by default.
Hop effectively needs Walker to lose a place. He needs him to lose a place where he's not making it into the final 4.
The problem for Hop there is, if you look at the left side of the screen, Wyatt Walker's got an almost 2-second gap over Scott Shire. How is he going to lose a spot? He's right where he needs to be.
So Ty Marasco trying to make a solid effort here. Dustin Ping also trying to track up from the inside. Gets into the back bumper this time by Dustin Ping with a bumper from Ty Marasco. And Ping continues to pull clear down to the turn numbers 1 and 2.
Look, this is going to go against everything that Dustin Ping has ever learned driving race cars on iRacing. Give up the spot. Just give these guys the spot. It doesn't matter. 9-point gap that he's got. 8-point gap over the 3 behind him. Just don't get turned. Don't fight it if you don't have to. Up here, though, Benjamin Lacey. He's fighting Connor Gibson. Oh, they make contact through 3 and 4. Gibson up the racetrack, a little bit sideways. Benjamin Lacey through to the 2nd place spot. Oh, there goes Philbrook through the grass a little bit of tire dipping. Maybe cool the temperatures. Probably just trying to...
not quite.
Not
quite. Ty Marasco hit the outside wall. He kind of shoved him into it.
That would do it. Fair enough. Either way, side by side now. Marasco down to the inside of Gibson.
Oh, my God. Connor Gibson is desperate. He knows he needs that spot. Connor Gibson is in a critical position right now. He needs to push down to 6. Gibson knows his championship's on the line here.
This is do or die for Connor Gibson right here. He's dropped a couple spots. Now he's behind Jeremiah Hobbs. He doesn't even have the 5th place spot locked up. He's now tied with Hobbs as he gets 1 spot back, still on the outside of Marasco. He's got to get 1 more though. He's got to get 2 more. What can Gibson do? Can he get those points back?
Right now, Gibson is down 2 spots. He needs to make up 2 positions if he wants to confirm himself with a chance to get into the final 4. Wyatt Walker and Jaden Hop are tied on the bump spot, but if Connor Gibson cannot make up the points, they would both be in. You ride aboard Gibson as he tries to run down Dustin Payne, but he's also got Ty Marasco on the inside of him. And Gibson trying to fend him off around the top.
Big question is, too, does Gibson have any bonus points, right? We don't incorporate that in the as they run standings up at the top. We've got to wait until after the race to get those factored in. Does he have the lap sled to be able to get a bonus point or two?
The championship standings on the right-hand side are factored in live bonus points as well as this time moves along, which does lead to some rather interesting momentum, doesn't it, right? Because, I mean, if we take a look at the last lead marker, because, of course, the amount, the driver, you get a bonus point for leading the most amount of laps. That is, of course, a critical bonus point that is right now held by Benjamin Lacey, but only by 5 laps from a non-playoff driver. But that non-playoff driver, keep in mind, way back outside of the top 10.
And at this point, there's no way that anybody is going to pass him then, given that, because there's only 8 laps to go. Nobody's going to get that point off of Lacey, but Lacey is basically locked in at this point. It's really about the 1 lap lead bonus points there between, you know, Gibson, Walker, Payne. Is Gibson sideways? That could have been it right there. Almost ran over by Ty. Side by side in front of him. Philbrick taking the spot from Ping as Haggy, he's losing the race lead to Benjamin Lacey.
Benjamin Lacey round the top side, pulls clear of Eddie Haggett coming off of turn numbers 3 and 4. Back behind, Connor Gibson desperately trying to find a way to get through. Jeremiah Hobbs also trying to find a way to get through. Hobbs, he can't go up any further. Realistically, he's 1 second behind this battle. But if Hobbs can run him down, Hobbs just needs to get 1 point to tie himself up with the rest of the drivers that are right now tied for the bubble spot.
He's got to pick up a second. He has got to pick up a second over the next 6.5 laps. Can he do it? Or do some of these guys have contact in front of them? It could just be one guy getting sent through the infield grass and no caution coming out again. And all of a sudden, Hobbs is back into the top 4. This is nail-biting stuff with 6 laps to go.
We'll take a look at the last 3 laps here. This is between Sikorsky and Jeremiah Hobbs. Look at the gap. Hobbs is running the time down. If he keeps that pace up, he will catch these guys by the white flag. Jeremiah Hobbs' championship is not over yet. Midwest Motorsports has a chance to get into the final 4. Ty Marasco still in the fray. Connor Gibson hard to the outside wall. And here comes Marasco slipping through. And that might be the nail in the coffin for the Nova Scotia native.
Unless we get a yellow, that's absolutely going to be it for the driver of the 31. But was that contact big enough to damage the 31? Are the tires completely gone on it? Because, again, that's the one position that Jeremiah Hobbs needs. And look at the driver of the 3. He's firmly in the shot, firmly in the draft of the 31 in front of him.
It is an intense fight that is going all the way down to the closing stages of this one. Connor Gibson battling back as Ethan Sikorsky moves up high. Gibson's going to get through. He makes up 1 more spot, but it's not enough. He needs to get a couple more still. 4 laps to go. And Jeremiah Hobbs is right in the fray. Hobbs trying to race his way into the final 4. If he can make up 2 spots, he'll do it. And that will put Wyatt Walker and Jaden Hopp tied for the last spot in.
Side by side here, this could be one of those spots to the outside of Gibson. All of a sudden, Jeremiah Hobbs now in that 3-way tie. Oh, Gibson almost took him out. Coming out of 4, what a job by Hobbs to be able to hang on.
Jeremiah Hobbs hangs on by the skin of his teeth. Ty Marasco drops down 1 as Dustin Ping is going to find his way up into the spot. Hobbs now trying to look his way. He's right now tied. Can he secure to the inside of Sikorsky? Hobbs is into the final 4 as of now.
But he's not clear. He's not clear down the back straightaway. Sikorsky's got the drive, and he's been good on the top side of the racetrack in 3 and 4. All night long, the 94 has been one of the best cars up there. Can he hang on again? Marasco in the wall, a little bit further ahead. Hobbs now on the bottom, still not clear. Side by side across the stripe. 2 laps to go. Sorry, 3.
2 laps to go, and right now, Jaden Hobb is the last driver in because Wyatt Walker lost the spot. Walker lost the spot to Shire. Shire got around Wyatt Walker. Jonathan Canfield's going to get around him as well. Jaden Hobb being sanded at the last second here. Benjamin Lacey trying to fight his way, coming to 3 and 4, looking for 1 to go.
Oh my word, the playoff bubble just does not stop shuffling, and we might have a different winner to this race. Ryan Philbrick has ran down Benjamin Lacey over these last few laps. 1 lap to go. Which one of them gets it done, and what 4 make the final 4?
Benjamin Lacey looking for the high side, trying to fend off Ryan Philbrick through turn numbers 1 and 2 to the back straightaway. Philbrick's there. He tucks into the draft, looking for a race win on his high-time racing career. The GoPro 06 to the inside line. Benjamin Lacey up on top. Can he fend off the 06 from down low? Philbrick is there, side by side to the quad oval. A drag race. Philbrick closes. Lacey hangs on. Lacey takes the win. In the final 4, it's Lacey, it's Ping, it's Hobbs, and by 2 points, Jaden Hobbs will fight it out in Miami for a championship.
Oh my word! Do you think Jaden Hobbs? Do you think his heart is just beating out of his chest right now watching the stream, just figuring out that he just makes the final 4 by the skin of his teeth?
That has got to be one of the wildest playoff elimination races either of us have ever called. What a drive. Benjamin Lacey, not to take away his mammoth defense there at the tail end of this one, fending off the horde. And we'll get a look as well on when Wyatt Walker got passed up, which costed him a chance at a championship.
What a great race. If every cutoff race was like that, I'd probably like the playoffs a little bit more in real life. That was incredible.
Benjamin Lacey will go down to fight it out for a championship run, as he is officially a Final 4 contender. Lacey has not won a championship since he took the very first one all the way back in 2023. Will 2025, at the tail end of the season, finally be his chance to go for number 2?
What a job it was from him. I said in the early going, if we get a longer run to the end of the race, Lacey's your favorite. And that turned out to actually not be true. Philbrick was faster than him at the end of that race. Just couldn't quite get the nose in front of Lacey. I actually think he messed up coming off of 4. I don't think he side drafted him nearly aggressive enough. He left a lot of room between the two. If he gets up on that left rear quarter panel, he might pull that 7 back and win the race in a drag to the line. But nonetheless, fantastic finish and fantastic race from the drop of the green.
And right here, there's Wyatt Walker, right? Scott Shire is situated behind him. We are going to try to look for when Scott Shire made that run. It was in the closing laps. It was, in fact, just 3 laps from the end. It was over. Jaden Hopp was going to be out. And then Shire, with this pass around the outside, punches Wyatt Walker out of the top 4 and lets Jaden Hobbs skate in by just 2 points.
Incredible. Nail-biting stuff.
And
we did not know who was going to make the Final 4 until the very last second, and we didn't know who was going to win the race until the very last second. That's why you watch.
And then this was the drag race coming to the start-finish line as Ryan Philbrick looked low. He gave it everything. He was gunning for it out of turn numbers 3 and 4. Down to the wire, though, it was Benjamin Lacey who held him off, taking the win by about half a car.
Credit to Philbrick for keeping it clean, right? That is still a playoff car at the end of the day. So I said I think he could have gotten tighter to him, try to drag him back, but you know what? At the end of the day, maybe he just didn't want to take out a playoff car. Either way, we got a heck of a finish with Philbrick running him down. Just ran out of time. One more lap, and I think he has it. But nonetheless, what an incredible finish.
Oh, my goodness. Austin?
Oh, no.
Breaking news, Benjamin Lacey has just announced, as of 60 seconds ago, he is not going to make the Final 4 because he cannot make the race. He is withdrawing. Walker's back in.
What?
Just like Aaron Smith did when we came to the round of 12. It will be Wyatt Walker making the Final 4.
Oh.
Holy cow.
I don't know.
Even after the drama just keeps on coming in, but well, a wild ride here this afternoon. Let's take a rundown of your official post-race results here this afternoon, as this one was a battle of endurance for the field. We'll talk about our thoughts on this after the race this afternoon. Benjamin Lacey, by 23 thou, will take home the win. He will not be fighting for a Final Four, though, in Miami because he is voluntarily withdrawn. Ryan Philbrick comes home second place. Jeremiah Hobbs will race into the Final Four. He'll be fighting for a championship alongside Dustin Ping. With time harassment with Scorsese Eddie Hagge in as well. Connor Gibson is also a Final Four contender. He joins Matt Crockett and Nicholas Coruscant. Rounds out the top 10.
Going back towards the teens, Michael Ramos in 11th, Scott Shire 12th, Sean Williams 13th, Wyatt Walker making the Final Four. A lot of luck behind it, but I guarantee you Wyatt Walker's pretty happy about it. Finishing 14th, John Osborne in 15th, Kevin Foster 16th, Jonathan Canfield 17th, Larry Bell, Carter Phillips, and Tanner Marr round out the top 20.
I am frankly speechless after this one as Dustin Ping, Jeremiah Hobbs, Jaden Hopp, and Wyatt Walker will be the four to contend for the championship after this one. It's Wellman, Lakey, Kilroe, Thorpe, Maskill, Satmary, Loy, and Ashmore to close out the field. What a rough break for Michael Thorpe Jr., right? Was looking to fight into the Final Four. His season, though, ends with a heavy crash that saw him airborne and careening into the pace car off of pit road before he even got to the halfway point. We'll take a rundown for your top three here this afternoon as drivers are set to have quite the ride here this afternoon. It's going to be Benjamin Lacey, though, coming home at the end of this one as the driver of the 75 Racing Machine will pick off the race win here this afternoon. We'll bring him into the broadcast booth this time by Ben, a bombshell announcement that you drop on this field after the checkered flag. You will not be fighting for a Final Four. You will not be fighting for a second championship. And this will be your swan song to close out the season in a photo finish in Atlanta. Talk us through it.
Yeah, bummer I won't be able to be here next week, but I will be catching the waves out in Hawaii, I guess, is a better way to put it. So I will gladly take that vacation and go and have a good time, but glad I could at least end the season here on a high note and get the W. And I just want to shout out Ryan there for keeping it clean and racing hard there to the end. That was a great job by him, and I think one more and he would have had it there. Wasn't sure if I was going to be able to fight my way back after the incidental contact there with Ramos. You know, Ramos and we talked that out, and I've raced with Ramos for a long time, and I know that wasn't any intention on his mind. Or he's usually a really clean driver around me. So much love to him, and appreciate the apology from him and whatnot. But we were able to recover from that and come back and get the W in a hard-fought win, and feels good.
Overall, you're not going to be contending, though, for a Final Four here at the end of the night after a drama-filled race that saw pretty much every single playoff contender, yourself included, being caught up in incidents. What leads to the decision here to withdraw from the Final Four?
You know, not being able to make it next week, I just feel that that's kind of a jerk move if I were to just take a spot there and only leave it to three other guys. So, and I'll be honest, I don't feel like I've had the deserving season to even be part of that championship four. You know, I've been caught up in a lot of junk and not exactly the fastest here and there. I just have kind of gotten, I think, some good finishes here at the end just to kind of luck my way in per se. But you know, I'm really happy that Jaden was able to advance in, even though he wasn't here tonight, because you know he's a guy that I think definitely is a deserving to be in the running for it. So it would have sucked to feel like he would have been like, you know, out of it, and I would have been in and taken that spot. So I didn't want to do that to anybody. And you know, I think I don't know who it is that's coming in to take my place, but you know, best of luck to them all.
Well, it would be Wyatt Walker, who before this had been bumped out by just 2 points with a pass from non-playoff contenders on the final couple of laps here. But with you not being here, this is going to be the last chance you have to shout out folks that helped you out throughout the season this afternoon. And will you be back in Season 5 to try and finally square away that second chip?
Oh, yeah. You know, I want to appreciate my teammates. You know, we got Nick, we got Kevin and John. They've all just been such a fun group of guys to run with week in and week out, and definitely learn a lot from them. And we're always talking different strategies and different things. So I appreciate everything that they bring to the table. And you know, Nolan, Austin, you guys do such an amazing job. And really, any guys that you guys bring in for the broadcast has been absolutely phenomenal and fun to watch. So you guys are amazing. I do want to say thank you to Guardian for being title sponsor this year. That was amazing. Hopefully they'll be back again for Season 5. Appreciate everything they do and the whole team. And Michael Thorpe and Chris Bassinger, Jonathan Canfield, William Turnbull, a lot of those guys that are all part of that organization and that team. So I appreciate them for being on board, and everybody who comes out here for this league, week in and week out, stressful and as frustrating as it is at times. Man, appreciate them all for being consistent. That's amazing. Shout out to those guys.
Well, wish you the best of luck in Wingo Racing once again. Congratulations on taking it home. A solid result here this afternoon, Ben, and we'll see you again next season then.
Yeah, and I thank you to all our viewers. Appreciate you guys, and stay tuned in. Next week's going to be wild.
Benjamin Lacey comes home number 1 this afternoon. Just 23,000 of a second off of his door was Ryan Philbrick taking his first ever podium in high tide racing competition. Austin, you stand by with our runner-up.
Oh man, Ryan, what a race from you, especially at the end of this thing, running down Benjamin Lacey on those last couple laps, giving it everything you had coming to the line. What more could you have done, or what more did you need to be able to beat Lacey back to that line on the last lap?
I needed one more lap, I think. Other than that, I don't really know. I didn't really think I was going to be able to catch him. I got to second, and I thought that was probably it, but then I saw that I was catching him, so then I made more of an attempt to, and I knew it was going to be close, but that was about all I had. Without another lap, I think that's what's happening.
It's a heck of a way to score your first HTRL podium. It almost ends up being your first HTRL win. Does this give you any more confidence for next week? Obviously only one race left in the season. Obviously you're not in the hunt for the championship, but with a race like this, finish like this, does it just give you enough confidence to go out there and really run for the win next week and try to get that first W to your name?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I showed up late. Next season, probably more. I know there's people running for points and stuff, so I'm trying to run as hard as I can without messing anybody's day up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, I love this track. I thought it was New Atlanta at first, or Echo Park, whatever it's called. And then when I realized it was old, I was pretty pumped. So I knew I could be fast, but saving tires was kind of hard. But I mean, it worked out pretty well.
Well, Ryan, congratulations on the fantastic second place finish. Do you have anybody to thank at the end of this one?
Clean Cut Painting, my teammates, Wyatt Walker, Jesse Gordon, John Walker. That's about it.
Well, Ryan, once again, congratulations on the top 3. And sorry, go ahead.
And High Tide for putting it on. It's a great league. I enjoy running it.
I got to agree. And with a race like tonight, it was pretty obvious to see for all of us because it was awesome, especially watching you trying to run down Benjamin Lacey. So once again, congratulations, Ryan. And I hope that we can talk to you on the top step of the podium here pretty soon.
Me too. Thank you.
All righty. That was your second place finisher, Ryan Philbrick. Next up, we're going to go back over to Nolan Rimple, who's going to be interviewing your third place finisher of Jeremiah Hobbs.
Jeremiah, it was a bit of a wild ride for you here entering this one. I know championship-wise, this was always anticipated to be quite a stressful race. I think putting it mildly for you, I know you were on the outside looking in entering tonight. But leaving tonight, you're going to be not only the hard charger, but you're also going to be fighting your way to Miami into the Final Four for the first time of your High Tide Racing League career. Talk us to the journey that saw you go from 5th to 3rd in the points.
Just big shout out to Midwest Motorsports, our good wrench. Midwest Motorsports number 3 Chevrolet was amazing tonight. It was just chaotic. These high draft ARCA cars just trying to survive, and it was basically a 4 or 5 car battle for that last spot, and then about 5 minutes ago we get that bomb drop of news, so that just kind of made things even crazier. But anywho's, I tried to just focus on going for a win. Really, I just knew it wasn't going to happen in the first 100 laps, and it was very chaotic, very up and down with if we were going to get a 40 lap run, a 5 lap run. So just felt very strong, very confident, and even going into next week, I told myself if I can just get through tonight, survive, I feel very, very confident on going into Miami next week and putting on a show. And I'm not coming in just to get a runners-up trophy. I definitely think I got a shot to take down anybody and hopefully get that first win in championship. So that's the goal here at Midwest.
Overall, it's going to be a bit of a longer race next season. By design, of course. These guys want to kind of up the endurance factor for that final race, really kind of make it stand out more than the other races, that other mile and a half of the course of the season. 150 laps, the longest mile and a half race by far all season long. How are you going to be practicing up to be able to tackle an extended race length?
I've always been kind of used to it, so honestly doing this series has been new to me just with all these short runs. So I'm really excited because I feel like there's a lot of great drivers in this league, and having these short distance races, in my opinion, and not having to really manage your stuff and go the long run, I think kind of messes with the race pace. So I think it's going to create amazing racing here for HTRL, and I'm excited, especially anytime we get to try some new things and really test our driving abilities. I think it's going to be amazing.
Well, there's still a long way to go here before the season draws to a close. That championship race right around the corner. We'll see if he'll be the 4th different champion in as many seasons when we go racing again in Miami. Good luck.
Thank you, sir, and thank you guys for everything y'all do. I really do appreciate it.
Jeremiah Hobbs comes home third tonight in the Midwest Motorsports number 3. And Austin, that draws to a close the round of 8. Only one race to go. Let's set the stage, shall we? Jaden Hopp, odds-on favorite to win this championship. Lucked his way in. He was not present this afternoon and just barely skates in as the final driver by the skin of his teeth. It was an extremely nerve-wracking fight, no doubt, for him watching from the sidelines, as he'll make it in by just 5 points. Moving on up, Jeremiah Hobbs, right, a rookie this season. He is also coming in with something to prove, as he is looking to become the 4th different champion alongside Jaden Hopp, and both of them going for their first. And then 2 repeat champions. Dustin Ping took his first title, admittedly lucking out a little bit on pit strategy. He went long in season number 2 on a massive gamble. That saw him take the lead of the race as a result, as he had been a lap down most of the race at Homestead in season 2. But that caution coming out at exactly the right moment, let him get on fresh tires, get on the lead lap, and just tear away from the field to take a second championship. You could say there's a bit of luck involved with that one. We'll see if luck falls his way again here in season number 4. And then, of course, the first champion of them all, Benjamin Lacey. He comes into this one with the points lead, exiting this Final 4 race this afternoon with one last race win, or at least he would have been, right? That was the story we were getting set to tell. Instead, it's the luckiest of the bunch. Wyatt Walker will fight his way into the Final 4 as Benjamin Lacey withdraws immediately following the checkered flag. 4 drivers, 3 of them looking to become the champion of their first ever season. One of them being a rookie, only one, a repeat champion that is looking for glories after 2 seasons of being found running second fiddle. What do you make of it? And I got to be honest, there's no telling who's going to come out on top of this one in Miami.
Yeah, I think the clear favorite is Jaden Hopp, but from what we've seen over the course of the season in the HTRL series here, there's no guarantee. It doesn't matter if you're the favorite or not. There's absolutely no guarantee that you get it done at the end of the day. And, it's just going to come down to one race, the highest finisher. There's no telling, man. Strategy can go all different types of ways. All I know, I cannot wait to be here to see it.
Still a lot of action yet to come here on Green Flag TV before Racing Action kicks off once again. We'll take a look at what's coming up here on Green Flag TV, as it is going to be Mid-Atlantic Racing Series action, kicking off a brand new series on Green Flag TV. That'll be tomorrow night at Daytona International Speedway. And just down the coastline, it's OMSRL, also at Miami. A prelude to next week's Final 4 race. Then another season opener on Wednesday night is Sim Racing's Outlaw Motorsports Truck Series at New Hampshire Motor Speedway to kick off season number 3, with the Beer League seeing the close of their 12th season of racing action here at the Fuji Speedway. Average Joe Simmers the League and Speed Cup Series action both return on Thursday afternoon, with AJSRL kicking off their next season at Talladega, while Speed takes the Magic Mile. And then the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Series will see their Indianapolis 500 on Saturday night at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Want to find out more about who we are, what we can offer you? Check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. As always, my name is Ola Ramble alongside Austin Edstrom. Thank you so much for joining us. 4 drivers into the ring, 1 leaves a champion. We'll see who is the champion at the end of 150 laps next week in Miami.